So in this Hibernate example, we are going to show how to map two classes which have a one-to-one relationship between the two of them. So I have this example in the one-to-one folder under Hibernate mapping one-to-one folder. And here you will see 4 files. One is a demo file, and then you have the stock class and the stock detail class which have a one-to-one relationship between the two of them. So the stock class has a reference to a stock detail and the stock detail has a reference to the stock class. So if you open the stock class, you will see that it has a reference to the stock detail class. And if you open the stock detail class, you will see that it has a reference to the stock class. And both of them have a reference to the stock ID. So the stock detail has a stock ID and the stock also has a stock ID. Okay. The stock class has only the most important fields, the stock code and the stock name. Whereas the stock detail will have more details about each stock record, like the company name, the company description, any notes, and when the stock was listed on the stock exchange. And let's look at the Hibernate config file for this, and make sure you're opening the file from the one-to-one folder. And in this file, you will see that we are setting all the JDBC properties, and it includes references to two mapping files. One is a stock.hbm.xml and another is a stock.detail.hbm.xml. So let's open the stock.hbm.xml from the one-to-one folder. There may be other files with the same name. Make sure you open this file from the stock.hbm.xml from the mapping one-to-one folder. So if you look at this file, the mapping file, it is a stock class referring to the stock table. The attributes the stock class has are the stock ID, the stock code, and the stock name. And you can see the column names that they map to. Stock ID refers to stock underscore ID in the database table. Stock code attribute maps to stock underscore code in the table. And stock name maps to stock underscore name in the table. And all these three were set in the previous examples as well, but in here we have one additional configuration called one-to-one. So one stock object has a one-to-one relationship with the stock detail attribute, which is of class stock detail. And the most important attribute here is the cascade attribute. So the cascade says what happens when something happens to the stock object. So when you create a stock object, which is a save operation, it's going to save the stock detail as well. So if you are creating a stock object, you'll see that not only will you have an insert statement going into the stock table, you'll see another insert which is going into the stock detail table. Now let's open the stock detail hbm.xml file. And again, if you see, it's from the folder called Hibernate mapping one-to-one. Here you see the class called stock detail, which maps to the table called stock underscore detail. It has a stock ID which maps to stock underscore ID column. And here you also see that this is like a foreign key. Okay, and it is referring to the same key in the stock table. And then it has other attributes like company name, company description, and so on. And look at this important configuration called one-to-one. So the stock detail has a one-to-one relationship with the stock class, okay, and it has a property called constraint equal to true. That means this can exist only if there is a stock object. It cannot exist independently of its own, right? And the stock ID is a foreign key. So if you look at, let's run this program now. The demo program for this is the Hibernate-One-to-One demo.java. Since I already ran this program before, I'm going to delete the data before I run this program again. So I ran this program, and if you see here, because of the cascading effect, cascading property set in the stock.hbm.xml file, and the cascade was set to save update. Since we are saving a stock object, it's going to save a stock detail as well. So if you see here, it also inserts into the stock detail after inserting into the stock object. So let's go and check in the database now. Let's refresh the data here by clicking this key here or pressing Ctrl R, and you'll see that the newly created stock object stock record is here, and you'll see the corresponding reference in the stock detail table as well, and they are both pointing to the stock ID of 9. And if you look at the stock detail table, the stock ID is a primary key, and it has this stock ID is a foreign key which refers to the stock ID column in the stock table. Okay, so this is how this program works. Let's look at other relationships in the next class.